This video is sponsored by Voxy.
Hi, Stephen. First of all, how are you doing and what are you up to at the moment?
Yeah, all good. I live in Spain now at the moment, so I do a few things out here. Obviously, I got invested in La Sala Group that we own some restaurants, beach club. So I get involved in that with all the contracts of the staff and also something different. So yeah, that's what I'm up to out here now.
Nice. And obviously, there's only one place we can start on Blues Focus, the Birmingham channel, all about the Carling Cup final. You were the captain of that side, the greatest side I've ever watched. I was 9 years old, front row, sort of in the middle bit. And it's a memory that I'll never forget. And in terms of sort of your emotions playing in that game and lifting the trophy, what was, I suppose, the overriding emotion in that time?
Um, to be honest, like going to the stadium, obviously going to a special place, Wembley. You know what I mean? Has such memories over the years for football. I've been there before the old Wembley. Um, you see the crowd, you come out, you see all the fans. The I think the thing for us, we're the underdogs, and I think even Blues fans were happy that they were there. More so when we're happy to be there, but it's all right being there, but you need to win because it can be the worst place in the world if you don't win. So the atmosphere was unreal. Obviously, we're the underdogs taking on the big boys of Arsenal, who had some top players in it. But we had a belief in us that we could win, and that's not because we won. That's how we felt. We didn't see ourselves as the underdogs. We see ourselves that we've matched them in the league during that season. We've done well against the big clubs, so we had a game plan, um, and that's how it went. As you say, the atmosphere is always unbelievable at Wembley, and especially I think when you've got fans there that haven't been there as such a big game, it just adds that bit more. But to me, it didn't add pressure. It just added more. Like Arsenal fans expected to win, Birmingham fans hoped we win, and I think that's the difference. Players expected to win, and Arsenal, me and us and Arsenal, probably on a different wavelength. For them, it's just it's a Carabao Cup or whatever you call it. Um, so it was everything to us more so, I think, than to Arsenal. And that's not saying every football player goes out on the pitch to win, but for us, we were going to be going down in the history of the club. So it was huge. Um, and thank God the way the game unfolded.
Yeah, and I think you speak about the psychology of the team there as well, like the whole expecting hoping scenario. And I think that's what made that Birmingham squad so good is because everybody fought for each other, no sort of prima donnas in the team. And that team went on a spectacular run sort of the season before, 12 games unbeaten in the top flight, our best run there. You played every minute of that run. And, that team, I suppose, when you look back at it and the core qualities of that team, what do you perhaps look at now with the Birmingham team and go, okay, this could be something that we could look to do with this team? Because obviously now it looks like Gary Rowett's coming into Birmingham. It's all change at Birmingham. So in terms of the psychology of that team and looking to translate that onto what's happening now with Birmingham, what would you say as a key advice?
Well, here, at the end of the day, as you say, made the point there was no prima donnas. Anybody stepped out of line, they're put into line with a good balance of players who never played in the Premier League who are coming into it, the Roger Johnsons, Scott Dan and all that. But then you had players like me, Bowes, Ben Foster, um, Barry Ferguson. But we all had a point to prove as well because we did a little second bite at it. And Ferguson especially come from Scotland. Can he do it in England, which he was top for us? Um, so it's togetherness, you know what I mean? Because you'll have tough times and you all have to stay together. Nothing gets outside that dressing room. You're all fighting. They're obviously in a very, very difficult position now, which they've been in difficult positions before. But this is quite unfortunate with Tony having to step down for the time being for his personal reason, which is unfortunate because he's a top manager, Tony. And then it lands on the assistant. It's not quite the same, even though he's very experienced. Gary Rowett was done really well at Birmingham. As I said, I just seen that he could come in as an interim manager because they're in a desperate situation now. This changes the whole dynamics of the club. God forbid they went to League One, because it's not easy getting out of any of these leagues, and they all just get tougher and tougher to get out of.
And I suppose with Birmingham, one of the things that makes us stand out from the rest is our atmosphere at home. And you've played in games before where it's just been, chaos, I guess. And the quarter final against Villa, semi-final against West Ham, where you said before that the crowd were just willing the ball in almost. And in terms of building up that atmosphere, what's it like being on the pitch in those atmospheres as well?
The atmosphere is built by the players. You can't always expect the fans to build atmosphere. With a team which they knew would die for each other, die for the club. That's not to say the players now won't, but momentum comes from you. You see it at other clubs, and then they get behind. They're behind you in any way, but they need that push. And as you said, that Villa game, West Ham game, I think were the two memorable games where you had the fans were pushing that ball into the net. Very like what happens at Anfield, to be honest. When they get going. It's a tough place. When them fans are behind you, and Birmingham's it's passionate. Obviously it's a bit down at the moment. Like fans they're paying good money. They're coming, they're not getting the results. The most important thing is to stay behind the team, because it benefits no one. And I understand the frustration. Obviously they don't want to be where they're at, but neither do the players. No one's just throwing the book in. They just find themselves in a very different position. 3 managers in a year, not ideal. So they just have to stay with them, and hopefully, if it's Gary Rout, whatever, they just need to get out of this little position they're in and get. It's amazing in them leagues. You get a result, you get another 2, 3, go on a little run, and all of a sudden you find yourself getting pushed up that table quite quickly. But you need to get on them, and it's important to do it very quick, because they're going to run out of games, and the pressure becomes bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, some players can't take that pressure. It's tough, man. You have to roll your sleeves up and be quite tough mentally. And you get paid to play for the club, and you just have to keep going at it and going at it. And fingers crossed, get that little bit. You do need a bit of luck at times. Little things go for you. A result goes the other way as well, and all of a sudden you can find yourself getting out of it. But it's a tough little run in for them. You're going to need men, not like boys.
You're right. And I suppose with that sort of leadership that you need on the pitch in the Championship, as well as the tough schedule, you need everybody to pull in the same direction, don't you? And I suppose with the Birmingham team of old, the team that you were in, you really got that feeling that everybody was pulling in the same direction. So in terms of sort of then to now, with the players that you had back then in the squad and the players I suppose you've got now, what are the key qualities that make a good Birmingham City side?
But as I said, we had such a mixture that worked perfect. As you say, no one stepped out of line. Everybody knew, demanded in training every day. Everybody would have the hump if they lost in training. We'd argue all the time. It's because everybody cared. There's that hunger. So it's very difficult to get that balance in a team. You know what I mean? And we had a special balance. It was one of the best dressing rooms I've been in, for just a mixture of everybody pulling together. But it's not easy getting that. And obviously it's very unsettling when you had a manager who was doing really well. They were 5th, 6th in the league. Then the Americans obviously wanted Rooney in, and I kind of get it, but he came in then on the back foot, because you had a manager that the fans didn't want to lose. The pressure's then all on Rooney. That didn't work out. Then you get another manager in, then he has to step. He was a good manager. I said, I don't think he'd be in the position probably. He has to step down. So it's just uncertainty. So it just needs to steady. I say, if it is Gary Rout who comes in, who knows the club, who's done well there, maybe that is, there's nothing to lose now, because something has to change quick. You know what I mean? Another game or two, all of a sudden, get results going the wrong way. You're in the bottom 3. It's not easy getting out of it when you're in it.
And you being the captain of Birmingham before, the captain's armband this season has been passed around a bit. It started off with Dion Sanderson, and then because of his injuries and suspensions, it's been passed around a bit. So you had Jukovic captain, maybe Ruddy captain at one point, Sunjic captain. So when you were captain of Birmingham, what was the main thing that you demanded of every player in that dressing room? Because it seems to be now that we really need someone like a focal point, someone to look to for that bit of leadership.
Well, it's responsibility. You know what I mean? You're a captain, and you need to get the players behind you. You only do that by leading by example. And that's what players in that team, a lot of players played with injuries for a long time. And a lot of players would just go, you know what, I'm injured. Didn't they? Players are getting injections. And Barry Fair's getting in his ribs and all. Horrible injections before games. And that's what you need. You need them type characters. Everybody just pulls together. I train. I had injections. Other players had injections, tablets. Is it ideal? It's not ideal, but unfortunately, when you're in them positions, if you want to win, you have to go through pain. And not everybody's willing to do that, to be honest. That's just life. But if you've got everybody on that and players look around and go, he's having that, it just creates that desire and hunger to fight. And that's what we had. We had a massive desire to win and fight for each other. But it's not easy creating, as I say. There's not a lot of dress rooms you have that in. Obviously, the top teams you have it successful, but not in these type teams that aren't top teams.
Could you speak there about the desire to fight, the desire to win? And that's something that Blues fans have been calling out for this season. But we've seen recent games, it just hasn't happened for us. And as we've mentioned, Gary Rowett, as of this morning, looks to be in talks to become interim manager of Birmingham City. So I suppose if you're going into that dressing room as part of that staff or whatever, like a hypothetical situation, what players are you looking at in the Birmingham team and going, okay, you could get a tune out of them, we could play to this player's strengths?
Yeah, but it can't be just one player. It has to
Mm.
be every individual. And as I say, it's not players not giving it all. Obviously, sometimes the quality isn't there. We had in our team, not as if we were all top players. We're like, there's quality wasn't there at times. But if you have a team ethic that they all keep working, you can still get results. The most important thing, your defense, to keep solid. But that only keeps solid if the rest in front of you are also working to the same level. So I don't think it's any individual. Obviously, you have senior players who have to gather the players under them, of course, and they have to follow and lead by example. But as you just said, but you need luck. Injuries do come into it, and it's not a blame game. But if you get players that are key to it getting injured, and then you're not scoring as many goals, but then you can't concede, then there's a lot of pressure on you not to concede because you know you're not getting the goals. You go 1-0 down, you think, I need to score a few. We're not scoring many goals. So it's a combination of loads, but I don't think there's any individual. I think at the end of the day, not one of them will want to get relegated in that team. They don't want to be part of a relegation team, especially going to League One. It's like that's a disaster. So as I say, it's rolling your sleeves up. You're in a fight. You either fight or you go. And I say I don't believe players in general are happy with just that's it. Down the tools, I might move, leave this club, I'll get a move from here. In general, that doesn't really happen, you know what I mean? But say, does it need freshness with another manager? I don't know, but at the end of the day, I suppose there's so much at stake. The owners are obviously very, very worried because it's not there. As the players are playing for a manager, they know. A lot of players know Tony Mowbray. He's done a very good job where he's been. Gary Rowett, you'll know he's done really well there. Does it need that freshness rather than assistant manager? It's no disrespect to him. Maybe that's the answer. Only time will tell if he's appointed. There's a lot of pressure on him as well. You know what I mean? So, as I say, fingers crossed. But it is every individual coming together. It's chatting to each other. We can't be in this position. And as I say, no one's too good of a team to go down. So it's about getting on with it now and digging in and finding that extra bit. And it's, I say, together, everybody on that pitch working their socks off. It's not always about quality. You work your socks off, you can just get that bit of luck at times. Something goes for you, another result goes for you. Soon you can find yourself in a better position. Then confidence goes high, obviously. Then you get a little run, you think you can win every game. At the moment, fans now, they're worried going into games, probably thinking, you know, that's natural. Like, don't see us getting a result here. Not the way things are going. But that's what I mean. So players they'll feel that from the fans in the stadium, feel the anxiousness, especially if you go goal down. It's not the end of the world, but they'll feel it's the end of the world. The fans think, don't see us getting out of this. So it's everybody coming together as a club, fans, players, and all going in the same direction, just try to get out of it.
Thank you so much for your time, Stephen. I'm sure the Blues fans listen to this would hopefully have their spirits lifted a bit by what you have to say and remember the good times as well, because at the moment it's a bit of a barren run for Birmingham. So thank you so much for your time, Stephen.
No problem. Thank you.